like that little jam. What's up, Big Fat 44? It's
Pulling up,
January.
pulling up, pulling up.
I pull up, I pull up, I pull up. Welcome everyone to the We Talking About Sports NBA pull up. We got Big Pat 44 to my left, and then me, your boy Ron from We All Win and We Talking About Sports. Shout out to Justin, shout out to Roland, our other homies who couldn't make it today. Roland's got a huge trip coming up. It's his birthday this weekend. Anything you want to say before we get started to the main man, Roland, and his upcoming birthday weekend, Ben?
No, I was just going to say that by the time everybody hears this, I think his birthday's tomorrow, Friday. We're recording on Thursday. So if y'all listen to this, just hop on Facebook or Twitter, wherever. Wish Roland a happy birthday. He's got a Vegas trip lined up this weekend. So wish him luck over there. Hopefully he brings back that money.
Vegas Roland. He'll be putting in some teasers for sure.
Oh, he's going to be kicking it with Vegas Dave for sure.
Por eso. Damn, man. He must be doing something right, man, out there in Vegas for his birthday. But happy birthday, man. Hope you have fun. But let's get into it, Ben. The NBA pull-up. We talking about sports action. We're from Texas, just a couple guys doing some podcasts here for homies from Texas, from the Valley, from the 956, bringing you a little bit of what we like to talk about. So without further ado, keeping it with Roland, things Roland likes to say. Without further ado, man, let's just pull up to it real quick. Here it is. This is what we'll be discussing today. Here's the game plan. You want to take us through the game plan real quick, Ben?
Shit, I'm just looking. We got the first quarter. We're gonna go through NBA power rankings, East and Western Conference. In the second quarter, trouble in LA, trouble in La La Land.
Oh no.
We know Ron's a big Laker fan, big King James fan, so we'll see if he's got the answers. You got the answer. You don't got the answers, Sway. We're gonna find out if Ron has the answers.
Call up AI. I need an answer.
In the third quarter, we're gonna get to the All-Star game voting. There's been a lot of hoopla with the All-Star game voting, and some players, that are gonna be getting in based on fan vote that probably don't deserve to be in there. Klay Thompson.
I was gonna say, just say what needs to be said, because puras mamás.
Gotcha, mamadas. And then in the fourth quarter, the trade deadline is in February, so we're about 2 to 3 weeks away from the trade deadline. We'll get into that. See what teams we think need to make moves. We've heard players rumored out there to be traded. Some guys that could really help some contenders. And shit, we ain't got no overtime, so. We ain't gotta worry about them unders. We ain't got no overtime.
Why lie? But let's get into it. Let's the first quarter, man. The whistle just blew. So as we were talking about the power rankings, here it is. This is the Eastern Conference standings. Surprisingly, I mean, nobody saw this coming. At least I didn't. First year that this team being together. Chicago Bulls, man, followed by the Heat, the Nets, Milwaukee, 76ers, Cavaliers, Hornets, and Wizards rounding it out at the playoffs ended today. Now, we got huge names, man, teams that have been strong in the East before, like the Celtics and the Raptors, the Hawks. They had a great year last year. Trey went off, and these teams are at the bottom of the barrel right now. Power ranking-wise, do you feel that this list is pretty accurate, Ben? Do you have any sleepers? And I guess at the end of the year, how do you think this list changes?
For the most part, I mean, from what I've seen this season, I think it's pretty accurate. I do see the Toronto Raptors down there in the 10th spot. I do expect them to get in, with their own spot, not in a play-in game. They're a team that was really, battling a lot of COVID. They were playing with very little players. In Canada, they don't even allow fans into their arena. So, they are playing with some negatives just going against them, but they seem to be getting healthier. Fred VanVleet is balling. The rookie Scotty Barnes is doing a hell of a job over there as well. And it really just going to come down to Pascal Siakam. He's a guy who we saw win the title with Kawhi, play well as a number 2. But there's no doubt that they expected Pascal Siakam to be a number 1. With his size, his length, and his abilities, he just needs to be more consistent for the Raptors, man. But Fred VanVleet, I really like Fred VanVleet. He's one of the Beard brothers, so he always keeps it clean. I do expect the Raptors, to get either the Hornets or the Wizards spot. Man, my team in the East this year, the Cleveland Cavaliers, bro, I'm happy to still see them. Earlier when we did our last pull-up, they were in, I believe, 4th place, so they're still hanging around. 8 games over 500, which you didn't expect from the Cleveland Cavaliers.
7-3 in their last 10.
Yeah, no, they've been balling. They did drop to the Bulls last night. They lost a game to the Bulls, but I mean, it was on the road, and there's just no shame in dropping the game to the Bulls. But Darius Garland has been playing really well for the Cleveland Cavaliers. Awesome point guard. If you all have League Pass, check out the Cleveland Cavaliers, man. They're pretty fun to watch.
Side note here too, boys, on if you guys like to bet just the way that we do, Ben is a big fan and we're a big fan of Cavs first half and then the Darius Garland point prop over. So 2 little nuggets there to throw in some betting into this Eastern Conference rankings.
That Darius Garland assist, man, his assist was at 7.5 probably a month and a half ago, and now it's at 9.5. So the dude is an automatic double-double with the assists and the points. And yeah, he's something to look out for. And another one that's out there right now is Brooklyn Nets. Whenever they play away, obviously right now KD is injured. He's out for a while, and we know that Kyrie's only playing away games, so he is going to be the fresher guy. He's chucking up about 23 to 24 shots a game, and they've got his point prop set around 23.5, 24.5. So he went for 30 last night. He went for 28 the night before. That's something to look out for. Kyrie Irving points props over.
Dude, that is some sick information, man, right there. Honestly, I mean, that's a nice little deep dive right there, man. I hope you got the floaties on.
Just situations.
Very true. The Heat, another solid team sitting up there in the Eastern Conference.
They've been pretty banged up as well. The Miami Heat have had just guys filling in. Max Strus. I mean, guys are making names for themselves. Bam Adebayo just came back after being hurt for a month and a half, and they're in the number 2 seed. Kyle Lowry's hurt right now. Jimmy Butler's been in and out of the lineup. Eric Spoelstra's a really good coach, and he's keeping it together in Miami.
It's tough to say. I know I asked you, where do you see these teams, at the end of the year, who gets in, who gets out? But as we're going to talk about a little later, the trade deadline is going to have a lot to do with this because we have teams like the Celtics who are, shopping pretty much everybody except for Kobe 2.0. Yeah. So everybody's on the block for them. Cleveland Cavaliers, they did get Rajon Rondo. I mean, as you mentioned, they've been your team all season. Then you get a playoff Rondo,
but he got hurt.
He's done for the year.
Not for the year, but he's out several months. So he played one game and got hurt in his first game, bro.
Well, he's there with them. It's veteran leadership on that team.
For the playoffs for sure.
The Bucks, I think, will be there at the end of the year. They climb into the 1 or 2 seed. Their consistency and their team, that played together for so many years. I don't hate, the Bucks being at the top of the power rankings because they're just that good. That's how it is for the East. We touched on it a little bit. Now let's switch over to the West. Talk to me.
No, I was gonna say, what team is your dark horse here in the East, or who do you look forward to watching maybe come playoffs time?
Man, I will take this with a grain of salt. You guys were on this guy heavy, and you're smiling because I know who I'm gonna say. The Hornets, man. I am becoming a ball believer.
Yeah,
I'm becoming a ball believer.
And we were talking about Terry Rozier, how he's just been going off.
Facts, bro. Facts. I mean, let's dive into the Hornets real quick. Them as well in their last 10, they're 7-3. They're on a 2-game winning streak. They're 12-6 at home, having a little trouble on the road at 13-4. But I mean, regardless of it, man, I think they have the top 3, if not the top speed and play. These guys run up and down the court. They're a good team to bet the overs on. They did it last night. Fun team to watch. They're a team that, like the Cavaliers, like you mentioned, doesn't have a lot of stars, but man, are they putting it together, and it's very fun to watch these guys. I would love the Hornets to go deep into the Eastern Conference playoffs and see what this young, rookie of the year can do for them, man.
Yeah, with Rozier, with Ball, with Plumlee, they got who is it? PJ Washington. They got Bridges. They got Gordon Hayward.
Yeah, there you go, Gordon Hayward.
Yeah, bro.
But Bridges, bro, he's been
Bridges on MLK Day went for 40. He was going off without LaMelo Ball. I mean, they have a good young team. Mm-hmm. And Gordon Hayward is that veteran guy. But Gordon Hayward hasn't had much success in the playoffs, but they have a bright future, and like you said, they're fun to watch. They're that League Pass team, bro. They're that team you tune into and watch them run up and down.
Yeah, they don't get the TNT or the ESPN games, but very fun to watch regardless. And I think it's cool for basketball in general to have teams like the Bulls, like the Hornets. I mean, even the Wizards with Bradley Beal going off there.
Kuzma.
Yeah, Kuzma as well, leaving the Lakers, is that we get new blood. We get new teams, we get new players to watch, and everybody can, become a fan of different players than the mainstream guys. And then we're going to touch on that when we get to the All-Star voting, a little segue there. But let's switch it over to the West, and let me know what you think about the West, man.
Yeah. So, I mean, I've been watching the Minnesota Timberwolves. I think the Minnesota Timberwolves are like the Cleveland Cavaliers of the West. They're young. They have really good skill at pretty much every position, and a guy that's just like defensive minded, also just in the starting lineup. Not somebody who has to touch the ball every play. So between D'Angelo Russell, Anthony Edwards, and Karl Anthony Towns, you have a pretty good nucleus of just guys that can get their own bucket. That's three out of the 5 starters that can just get their own bucket. They don't have to be set up, leaving your other guys to be, a 3-and-D guy or just a spot-up shooter. I like the Timberwolves a lot. I think that they do lack that veteran leadership. Maybe Patrick Beverly, can. If anything, he's gonna toughen them up. Pat Bev will toughen them up, bro.
Yeah.
And we know Karl Anthony Towns could use some toughening up. He's always getting punked by all the other centers.
And he's even been getting punked by his girls too, homie. Everybody's been taking his chicks.
Yeah.
He's soft. He's a little soft, but
he has a soft reputation.
Patrick Beverly will,
Yeah, if Patrick Beverly can't get any dog in him, then shit, we got to give up on that boy. We got to give up on analogy. Him. Yeah, but that's pretty much what I like to see. I like to see the Timberwolves in the mix. I think that they're pretty game. They're young. They're athletic, like I said, and they've been hanging with these teams. I'm surprised to see the Clippers hanging around in that play-in game as well. We know that Paul George probably is going to be shut down for the season. Kawhi's out for the season. The Morris twin hasn't played since Jokic shoved his ass. It's been like 2.5 months, bro. The guy hasn't played a game since Jokic retaliated on him. So
yeah, he embarrassed, man. He embarrassed, as he should be, because he's, like I said it when that episode aired with us, is he's always been the bully. And when the bully gets bullied, what the bully gonna do? Nothing. He's gonna go cry to mama.
Yeah, go cry to his brother. Go cry to twin bro. But yeah, with Luke Kennard and some, Reggie Jackson, some of those guys, they're keeping it afloat. I mean, they've been winning some games that they shouldn't be winning. So that is surprising. I wonder if they stick around, or if a team like Portland, once they get Dame back, CJ just came back. If a team like Portland's going to make a run, they're usually in the playoffs. We know they had to battle in the bubble, and Dame, they pretty much created the playing game because Dame was saying, what am I going to the bubble for? We have no chance. So I expect the Portland, if they don't get busy at the trade deadline, I mean, they're just going to have to lock in and try and make a run at one of these, last 3 seeds for the playoffs.
The first thing that I think of regarding the power rankings, looking at this list, man, compared to the one from the East, is the East has so much more talent and so much better teams, just more, depth-wise in teams. And that's something we had talked about before, is it changing to where we don't have all those Western Conference powerhouses anymore? Has all the talent gone to the East? And I'm looking at this, man, and I'm seeing the Mavericks in the 5th seed, the Nuggets in the 6th seed, and the Wolves in the 7th. I mean, that's not great if you're the Western Conference, man. No. It's not at all. So if we go power rankings wise, just to stick with that topic, I would put a lot more Eastern Conference teams than I would in the West. Obviously, teams like the Suns definitely have to be there.
Best record in the league, yeah.
Best record in the league, of course. Other than the Warriors and the Grizzlies rounding out the top 2 and 3, I mean, you could say maybe the Jazz, but
everything else is pretty sketchy. But you put teams like the Bucks, the Brooklyn, you put the Bulls, all of them, you put them over the Jazz for sure. The Jazz lost to the Lakers and followed it up by losing to the Rockets. Yep. That's not good at all.
I mean, so top 10 power rankings, you have to have at least 6 Eastern Conference teams, maybe even 7. Yeah. The Grizzlies at 31-16, 3rd in the West. Ja's been balling. Ridiculous. He's one of those players that could be the next generation. I don't know if he can get a push in such a small market, but they were comparing him to Giannis, doing the same thing for Milwaukee, which was really, really cool to see a guy like Ja.
It's a good comparison.
Very great comparison there. So I mean that kind of just sums it up for me, man, as far as the power rankings. But anything else that you want to say before we
I
go
want
to
to touch on the
quarter?
Grizzlies, and then just real quick, the disparity. Like if you look at the games back here in the West, the second place team is 2.5, and then you get 5, 6, 9, 11. Now, if you flip back over to the Eastern Conference real quick.
It's the separations like.
Yeah, so here up to the 3 seed, it's only half game back. The 4 seed, 2 games back, and then 2.5 games back all the way to the 6 seed, and then 4, 6. It's tight, bro. It's tight. Yeah. So the Eastern Conference definitely looks like they're taking over, like you're saying. Yeah. They've gotten more talent over there. And for the Grizzlies, we'll just end with that. I want to see them do it in a playoff series. I think that they're balling. They're a really good regular season team, but I wonder, like even against a team like the Nuggets or Dallas, if they can win a 7-game series, because we know that the playoffs is different, and they just have a bunch of young guys. And Steven Adams holding it down in the paint. But it's Jared Jackson, it's Bane, it's Zaire Williamson, it's Ja. It's a very young team. So that's the only question mark that I have on them. But Ja has been fun as hell to watch, man.
Man, definitely. Definitely. So that was it for the first quarter. Let's go ahead, switch on over to the second quarter here. And what everybody's kind of been talking about, man. Trouble in La La Land. LeBron James, ever since he tweeted this, hashtag Laker Nation, I apologize, and I promise we'll be better. January 16, 2022. And as we know, the infamous Russell Westbrook there on top with that lost look in his face. Like you always
1,000-yard stare.
1,000-yard stare, wondering why can't I hit a jump shot?
What the fuck is wrong with that rim, fam?
Is that a regulation size rim?
That rim's bent, rim.
Vogel benching him in the last 4 minutes of their game, and they interviewed him, and he said, I should have put this up there, but he said, I went with the guys that I thought could win the game. So that's a big shot to me if you're Russell. I mean, you're the starting point guard of the team. He's not even an all-star. I'll just kind of lead with this. Surprisingly, I thought he would have been an all-star. We're going to touch on it later, but hasn't even voted in an all-star. The Lakers are 22-23, currently 8th in the West, 13 games back of first. And everybody's going to go to the excuse of no AD. So after touching those topics, Ben, let me know, man. Let me know how you feel.
I'll start off with
cutting
them a little bit of slack. I mean, things will be better when AD
I didn't expect that.
I'm not saying that they're going to turn into contenders, but they will be more competitive. I mean, AD is a top 10 player in the NBA. Correct. I mean, let's not get it twisted. They could use him in the lineup. When any other team has one of their star players hurt, they point to that right away. I think we've gotten a little lost in the sauce. The fact that AD is out, he is the youngest of their 3 stars. So, I mean, he's a regular season guy. LeBron, we know, has to save himself. He's been playing big minutes. They're playing him at the 5 now. They're very desperate. And we've heard about Vogel, possibly being let go last week going into that Jazz game. They end up winning the game. Nothing happens. And then last night they dropped that stinker to the Pacers where they let LeVert go for 20 in the fourth.
A troubling Pacers team. A struggling Pacers team. I mean, they had nobody. Sabonis,
at all. Their whole team is on the trade market except Sabonis.
Yeah, and that's because he was their all-star, and he hasn't even been playing great. So it's not like you said, oh, well, Sabonis has been hot at least. So, he showed out against the Lakers.
No,
he didn't even
perform. That was a horrible loss.
Some fun facts on AD now that you brought him up. Of course, he's missed the last 15 games. The Lakers have gone 6-7 since he went down. In his career, he's never played more than 75 games in one season, which is, a lot. 60 plus only once in the last 4 seasons as well. Of course, he leads the team in rebounds, and he is the second leading scorer. So I think, yes, like you touched on, AD is a huge piece that's missing. But if you go back to the bubble, the thing that helped out the Lakers win was their defense. They played amazing defense. So that's one thing that they need to fix along with AD. Check these stats out for their half-court offense. If you want to talk about stagnant, if you want to talk about sluggish, they actually take these stats, which is crazy. Like, who sits there and analyzes this shit? But but their speed, they're the slowest in the NBA as far as speed. The percentage of walking, they actually take that stat. Percentage of walking on the court, that's the lowest. And then finally, miles traveled. Like, they got a damn, little tachometer on there. So it's crazy that they take these stats, but the miles traveled is the fewest in the NBA. So that half court offense, bro, it's stagnant. They're not moving. They're not passing the ball. And then, of course, another thing that I look at is the big three. What's one thing that they love besides LA and besides the money? They love the paint. AD's going to be on the block. LeBron, he's barely been shooting the three the last, 2-3 years, but he loves to drive, either drive and dish or drive and score. And Brody, we know you ain't got no jump shot. And we know you love to get in the paint, pad your stats with the rebounds. And that leads me to the next thing. Is Russ done? I mean, I ain't gonna front. I'll take this. I heard this, so it's not my information, but I heard Stephen A talking about it. Dude, he's played with guys like Harden, like Durant, like LeBron. I mean, you name it, the list goes on. The list goes on and on. And what's one thing that he has that he doesn't have that all the other guys have? Well, except for Harden maybe, but championships. Championships, Yeah. These guys have ships. These guys get to the promised land. Why is it that he cannot do it? Why is it that whenever Russell Westbrook is on your team, he either gets traded or he's the problem or he's the issue?
He's always a scapegoat.
Yeah, and one last thing before I turn it over back to you. The Lakers. What's one thing also that happens every single year? It's a new damn team every year. It's a new starting five. There's trades here and trades there. You never get the same Lakers team. I mean, the core kind of stays there maybe the last couple of years, in AD and LeBron, two guys out of the whole squad. But other than that, every single year, it's not like the Bucks. It's not like other teams that have played together for a long time.
Yeah,
so those are kind of my issues with the Lakers. However, we all know that it's not even the All-Star game yet. It's not hit the panic button just yet. I look for them to end up middle of the pack because the West isn't as strong. 4 to 5th seed, maybe 6th seed, hopefully. And we don't have to play one of the top teams, being at the 8th or the 7th seed. And we kind of make it to the 2nd, 3rd round and get lucky, man, and go to the ship. But
yeah. You gave me a lot there, Ron. You gave me a lot there. I'm glad you mentioned the pace, because I mean, one thing we all knew coming into the season was we were calling it the nursing home. We were calling it the old people's home with the way the roster was set up. So it only makes sense that they're the slowest team in the NBA. We know how LeBron likes to play. He's a half-court player. But slowest pace in the league and Russell Westbrook don't belong in the same sentence, cuz.
It does not.
All we've known Russell Westbrook for is explosiveness and going down the court. How did in 2021, how did they not know that shit wasn't going to work, bro? Like, it doesn't make any sense. We want to play a half-court game, so we're going to come and pick up Russell Westbrook instead of, not going for Westbrook, getting Buddy Hield, signing DeMar DeRozan for the $44 million that Russell Westbrook makes. You could have had two players and still kept Caruso. But no, you decided to bring in the third star, and you said it ain't time to hit the panic button, but they're hitting the panic button, bro. Vogel benching Russ is just the last straw. He don't give a fuck anymore. He said, yo, fam, I'm as good as gone, but I got an extension after we won a title, and I'm going to get paid out no matter what. You know what I mean?
Ben Pelinka.
Bro,
your name. Ben Pelinka, baby.
Was it Pelinka? Was it LeBron? Was it a combination of both? How much say did LeBron have in Russ coming over? Mm-hmm. It was a horrible move. That contract, $44 million this year, $47 million next year, and then he's done. But LeBron is signed for this year and next year as well. So, but when Russ is a free agent, maybe next year it'll be a little bit more of a tradable contract because the money will be off the books after next year. So teams usually look to unload money and they'll take players who are in the last year of their deal. But $44 million this year, it's going to be hard, very hard to let him go. The coach will be fired within the next week, no doubt about it. He won't last a week. And to see them under 500 at about almost the midway point of the season. I mean, we got the All-Star break here in a week or two. Not good, bro. Not good at all. I think that, like I said, Vogel's just at that last thing. Like, they're even talking about he has the permission from the upper head honchos to go ahead and play Russ the way he wants to play him.
Jimmy West, the West.
It's getting bad, bro. It's getting bad in LA. They do need some sort of change. They don't have many assets. The one thing that they fucked up when they brought Russ in is no more flexibility. That's $44 million. You know what I mean? That's 2-3 players that could have been assets to deal if it wasn't working out. Now it's just one guy, and he's not very tradable because he's shooting, 40% from 2 and 30% from 3, and the turnovers are insane. So,
and he's been with half the league already. He's like that, he's like that girl at the party. He's like that girl at the school, everybody's had a little turn, so nobody wants her on the squad anymore, Yeah, hey, he's been loving the crew, he's been loving the crew.
Too many crews. Too many crews. Nah, Russ belongs on a team like Orlando or Detroit where he could just go out there, run around like crazy, get a triple-double, put a couple asses in the seats because those teams don't sell tickets, and have fun, bro. But, as far as being on a contending team and making it work, those days are over.
Well, as far as the Lakers go, hopefully AD comes back. The big three put it together. And after the All-Star break, go on this crazy run. And,
tell Santa Claus what else you want, cuz. What else do you want?
Give contention to the Suns and the Warriors and those the best shooting.
We'll leave it with this, Ron. Do you honestly think that they will be contenders, or do you just want them to maybe win a round in the playoffs?
No, I mean clearly, best case scenario is they put it all together. AD comes back, Russ, finally, starts hitting that jump shot, and they can kind of mesh, and finally it'll just click. That's best case scenario. Does that happen? I highly, highly doubt it. The guys haven't played together. I just, as much as I want to, let's be real, it's a very, very slim chance. If it does, great. If it doesn't, it's what I expected. Kind of like the Cowboys. If they go to the Super Bowl, great.
All right, we'll leave on that because that's very honest.
But halftime, second quarter's over, halftime.
Hey, we're coming right out rolling, baby.
All right, start of the third quarter, baby. Let's get into it. This is something you wanted to talk about. You had some issues. You had some qualms. What else? Let's talk. Let's get into the All-Star Game 2022 voting. We got the West on the left, the East on the right. Front runners. I'll just name the front runners real quick. Top three: Kevin Durant, Giannis, and Joel Embiid in the front court. DeMar DeRozan, Trae Young, and Zach LaVine in the backcourt for the East. The West, my boy LeBron, of course, Jokic and Wiggins, surprising name there in the front court. And then we have Curry, Grizzlies, John Morant, and Luka the God for the guards in the West. So, Ben, tell me what you think. What are your issues with the All-Star Game voting and the whole process itself?
Yeah, my issues are Klay Thompson and Kyrie Irving. Two guys that are probably going to get in, no doubt about it, and they're going to keep players like Darius Garland out. I mean, why is Derrick Rose in the voting right now?
That's insane.
You know what I mean?
He hasn't even played. He's hurt.
It's dumb. Carmelo Anthony, get the fuck out of here. Come on now.
Get out of here.
I think the fan vote is just a little too much, man. Damian
LaMarcus
Lillard.
Aldridge?
How much has Damian Lillard played this season? I get it that they're still the stars, but there's some young guys that if you appreciate basketball are balling and do deserve to be in there. It's pretty good to see Andrew Wiggins up there at number 3. We know the Warriors fan base is pretty strong, which is why he's so high. Not saying that he doesn't belong, but you wouldn't expect him to be number 3 in total voting. So I don't like the fan voting system, bro. I think that, some fan bases just take over. I mean, we got the Warriors starting 5, all going to be in the All-Star games and shit. and yes, Wiggins and Curry do deserve it. I think that that's about it for the Warriors. But it's sad that it'll keep some guys out that deserve to be in there. Anthony Edwards has been balling. And he's probably not going to get in. And listen, Rudy Gobert, we need to stop voting for that guy because nobody wants to see his ass in the All-Star game. He ain't got shit to give us.
A defensive expert, no. And then you have a side note here, DJ Khaled going on Instagram and Twitter and all social media saying that vote Bam Adebayo, get him in. So it has turned into a little bit of a publicity, kind of stuff.
And that answers Roland question because he was asking the other day why Shea Serrano, who's a right here local in San Antonio, big Spurs fan, and he's verified on Twitter, but he was wondering why he does not tweeting like DeJounte Murray for the All-Star game. Yeah. Like people with those big platforms, he was wondering if they were allowed to push it. But now that you say DJ Khaled was trying to get Bam Adebayo in there, then that answers our question. Why is Paul George number 4? He's not even he's done for the season, bro. It's just so stupid. Come on, fans.
The thing that I don't like is that, okay, these guys get voted in. First of all, if they're not playing, they're going to come out and say, oh, we decline. If they're a little bit hurt, if they just want rest, they come out and they say that right before the game. And then what do we have to do? We have to wait and to see, who's going to replace them. And then it's kind of like, man, that sucks. Just because this guy doesn't want to play, that's why you got in. Why not just leave it all open? The fans
Booker last year, remember Booker made a big deal about it and ended up getting in.
Yes, exactly. And it's like, why not just leave it open, right? And then as fans, we know who's hurt, who's probably not going to play, guys who we don't want to see in the All-Star game, like a Rudy Gobert, and hey, you never know. Maybe the guys, the Darius Garlands in the world move up from 9 to 4, or 3. Somebody that I like, what you kind of put me onto this year specifically, he's been in the league, is a guy like Jared Allen for the Cavs, who's in 6, who definitely should be a little bit higher, in my opinion. And I don't really care to see Jimmy Butler. I'd rather see, Jared Allen instead of Jimmy Butler. But yeah, man, definitely some issues with this whole fan thing. Do you think that the NBA needs to implement something that makes this game a little bit more meaningful? I know they threw some money at the winning team last year, but any ideas that you have, Ben Pelinka, on what the NBA might do to we've kind of entice these guys?
We've seen baseball, I believe, go with the winner. They did it where the winner in the world that got home field advantage in the World Series, whatever division won the All-Star game. But I don't see the NBA doing that just because these teams fight so hard, for that best record in the league to host it. I don't think that they are, bro. And the NBA is a big player-friendly league. They love, the fan interaction. So I don't see them changing this at all. But LaMarcus Aldridge is in the top 10 of All-Star voting. I mean, that guy was retired last year, bro. What are we doing? We want to overwork this guy and have him collapse in the All-Star game? This is horrible. Good to see Miles Bridges in there. In the Eastern Conference, there is some younger guys who are going to get an opportunity, and it's because the teams are balling.
Yes, and as soon as I started reading these lists, I was like, man, Andrew Wiggins, Paul George for the West. I mean, I was like, man, our point is just getting proven more and more about how the East is kind of taking over the NBA. Fred VanVleet, another one of your boys, definitely made the list there at number 7. Zach LaVine at number 3, which, figures is going to get there, but another young guy from the East who participates, in the slam dunk contest a couple times, slam dunk champion. So those guys are always cool to see. I think we need to move on more with the newer generation because the more, exploitation that these guys get, maybe not exploitation, but, the more these guys, there you go. That's the right word right there. Exposure that these guys get. Sorry, we do it live around here. So
we don't off the dome.
Yeah, we don't edit shit around here. But yeah. So anyway, the more that the public can see these guys play, the more fans that they can become of these guys, so people, younger kids, I should say, won't get pushed to the KDs and the Hardens and the LeBrons. They can start wearing different jerseys on their back and, make the fan base grow and make the game grow. And these smaller markets can become bigger markets. And then we can stop having to see teams on NBA League Pass and see them on TNT and ESPN.
Exactly. There you go. You said we don't see the Hornets very much on TNT and ESPN. So let's see LaMelo Ball in the All-Star game, right?
Hell yeah, man.
But to your point, we'll close to your point on that jerseys, Ron. There was a story going around last week. The Memphis Grizzlies, they had too many fans show up, with Stephen Curry jerseys to the game and other players. So what they did is they said if kids bring in their jerseys of whatever jersey that they bring in, everybody will get a free Ja Morant jersey.
Wow.
So the Grizzlies, like you said, small market, and they're doing shit right. You know what I mean? Yeah. We're going to push these Ja Morant jerseys out. Even if we got to give them out, goddammit, just turn that up.
Well, I mean, it could just be like, a kid likes basketball. His parents want to buy him a jersey, and they're like, "Oh, well, that guy Steph Curry's pretty good. Let's just get him one of those." And then the kid becomes a fan, and they live in Memphis. They go to a game, and what if the kid loves Ja Morant, but he's got a Curry jersey on?
So that's exactly what happened. Exactly what happened.
Very smart by Memphis. I applaud you, Memphis, Tennessee, home of the Titans as well.
They're doing it for Dolph.
They're doing it for Dolph. All right, that wraps up a quick third quarter. The third quarter always goes kind of quick, not just in the NBA, but here. So let's round it up, Ben. Let's go to the fourth quarter. Let's get to the meat and potatoes, the trade deadline. All right, NBA trade deadline, February 3rd. We're January 20th, so I would say about less than 2 weeks away. Yeah, less than 2 weeks away. Some things that have already popped off. there he is, playoff Rondo, like we touched about. He did get hurt, but he did get traded to the Cleveland Cavaliers. This one just recently happened, I want to say. The Knicks acquired Reddish for Knox. Knox has been hurt, hasn't been playing. A guy like Cam Reddish, he could add a little bit to that Knicks team who has guards hurt. Just like you mentioned earlier, Derrick Rose is out. Him and maybe Julius Randle hopefully can work some kind of connection. You never know. Either way, I don't think it's great for the Knicks just because they're not a great team this year. Also, big names, man. Simmons, Ben Simmons. Is he going to go? Is he not? Dame time. It's either him or McCollum. Anthony Simons has stepped up as a guard there. So does that kind of, sway Portland to say maybe it is time to get rid of Dame? But besides these three early, plays here or, deals that have already been made, right, what teams need to trade, not just to better the team in general, but for contention? What teams are kind of, they're on that fence right now to where a good player, a good trade can take them to the promised land?
Yeah.
What do you think, man?
I'll just touch on the Knicks real quick. Getting Reddish, that was, Barrett's teammate at Duke. So they're linked up. We know that Zion has been wanting to go to New York. We'll see if they get all three of them there eventually. But I will say that was a good trade for the Knicks. They gave up Knox and a protected pick that they had gotten from, I believe, Charlotte for Cam Reddish. And they're a team, in signing Fournier, trading for Kemba, it does make sense to me as to why they're not in the playoffs this year. And we got to remember, last year they were the 4 seed. They were hosting a home playoff game, a series against the Atlanta Hawks. But those 2 signings made them a lot softer and very inconsistent guys. Kemba had, gotten out of the rotation, and he was supposed to be their starting point guard. So I will commend them for this move. It is a move in the right track. Now, teams that need to make moves. One move as a Rocket fan that I've been lobbying for, for the last 2 months probably is Eric Gordon. Eric Gordon for the Rockets. We know he's the vet on the team. He's shooting 45% from 3 this year, 40% from 52% from 2. So he's been solid. He's a great 3-point shooter, and the Lakers need shooters. What the Lakers did over this offseason and, getting rid of all their shooters, KCP, Kuzma, although he was kind of a chucker, but Caruso as well. They brought in a bunch of guys that didn't fit their scheme, bro. They brought in a bunch of more one-on-one guys instead of guys that LeBron could just pass the ball to, they'll spot up and shoot, like the offense that they play. So they need a guy like Eric Gordon. I think a guy like Eric Gordon could help them, win a playoff series, not necessarily be contenders, because as long as Russ is there, I don't think that they will be contenders. But Eric Gordon can help a team that,
He's got a little PJ Tucker dog in him too, a little bit. They were teammates for a while. He's not somebody who's afraid to get on the floor for a loose ball, spot up, not spot up, but maybe guard up a bigger forward. He is a smaller guy, but he's somebody who can get on, a 4, maybe not a center, but somebody who can definitely, help out defensive wise.
And the Lakers, the last asset that they have besides Russ, if anybody will take Russ, is THT. And I think that Lakers fans are kind of tired of THT from what I've heard for the most part.
I am.
You are? They had a lot of hope for THT, bro, but he's very inconsistent. He's still young, but a team like the Rockets that is built on nothing but 18, 19, 20-year-olds, bring THT over. He fits that, let's see what they can develop him into with a change of scenery. We've seen guys like Kuzma go to the Wizards and, become a double-double guy, just not being on the spotlight of being on a LeBron James team. And every time I shoot, I got to turn around and look and see if LeBron's giving me a look. You shouldn't be shooting that shit.
Rebound prop there for
that shit's at 9.5 now. That shit's at 9.5 now. But
Kyle Kuzma rebounds over. Look into it.
He's been rebounding his ass off, man. He's been playing well. But the Lakers, I think that they do need to make a move for a player like that. Another guy that was out there was that needs to be traded, the big man for the Pacers. We did Miles Turner. But
Miles Turner.
He did hurt his foot, though. Yes, he hurt his foot, so that kind of messed everything up. There was talks with him going possibly to the Mavericks for a pick and a player. There talks about Brunson or Finney Smith and a first-round pick. So we'll see what happens there. But they've also been talking about trading Caris LeVert. The Pacers are pretty much selling everybody. They're a team that has guys out there. We know that the Blazers are going to have to make a move. Is it going to be CJ now that he's back? Is it going to be Dame? Are they going to just keep trying the same shit and hoping, praying It works, but I mean that's the definition of insanity. Doing the same thing over and over without anything working, and that's what's
expecting
happening
different
with the
results.
There you go.
Yeah, but I think that the just like you said, man, the Blazers are that team that you could point to, and they're at the top of the list of, get to the mountaintop, but they just never hoist up the trophy. They're always there, and something always goes wrong because they need that missing piece. Yeah. And I think that McCollum and Dame are the same player. I mean,
exactly, bro.
Obviously, Dame's
better, but their game,
more skilled, but their game is exactly the same, man. Exactly. So besides that, some other potential trade talk that has been going on. I know we mentioned the Pacers, but De'Aaron Fox, maybe going to the Pacers. Gordon from the Rockets. However, Houston came out and did say we will not be taking crumbs.
They want a first. Gordon. They want a first round pick.
Turner from the Pacers. Going back to LA, DeAndre Jordan and maybe Bazemore or somebody who you can maybe package together. I know it's a little bit of a reach, but hey, it's still out there. Another team besides the Blazers in the Western Conference, the Mavs. They showed out.
Make a move.
They showed out last year. They have Luka the God. I've heard, maybe a guy like Jaylen Brown, because we do know that the Celtics are considering moving players. They're considering moving on from Schroeder already. Basically, like I said, everybody but Tatum should be on the block for the Celtics. So the Mavs are a team that I think can work something out to bring a big name. What the Mavs and the Blazers right now are, to me, those two teams that can bring that big name and then finally get there, man. Finally get to the top.
I've had a shout out David Bridgewater. He's a Celtics fan, friend of the podcast. And we've been talking, and Jaylen Brown and some other players got to be packaged for Dame. I think that Dame and Tatum and Jason Tatum could be a pretty solid combo.
That's scary.
The exact same thing that you just said about CJ and Dame. It's the same thing with Jaylen Brown and Tatum, bro. They're just one-on-one guys doing their own shit. We've heard Marcus Smart already complaining about it. We're playing too much one-on-one basketball.
They don't pass the ball.
Yeah, I mean that works. Get Jaylen Brown over there to Portland and let him be the man. Not be necessarily under Tatum's shadows. And it could possibly be a change of scenery for Damian Lillard. So I would like to see them work something out. Sometimes with guys, you just need a little change of scenery. And I think that Dame playing in Boston with, it could give him that spark again, because I forgot he's played, this season. We ain't even heard Wally Garza. Ain't no Dame time. No Dame time this year.
And I think if you're the Celtics, one of the storied franchises in the NBA, to get a guy like Damian Lillard to a team like the Celtics, to Boston, to the East Coast, and away from a smaller market like Portland. He's going to go from coast to coast, from the West Coast to the East Coast. But man, that would drive sales. That would drive tickets. I mean, if you're the Celtics front office right now, you got to find something to do, because you're another team who's right there at the cusp of it. And you get a guy like Dame, you lose a couple pieces that you can do away with it. Aren't going to bring you those points, every single game, who aren't going to bring you that attention away from Tatum. You got another star. That's a definite possibility. The East is a little packed, like we said, but I think Dame to the Celtics would be huge, man.
And those are two teams that are hanging around in the 9th and 10th spot. Mm-hmm. They need to shake shit up, Yep. We've seen it. Go ahead and do it, man.
It's like fantasy football. You
sometimes you just need that trade,
something drastic. Sometimes you got to trade for Debo.
There you go.
What it is. There you go. But man, that's it for me as far as this NBA pull-up episode. We went through all 4 quarters. Anything else that you want to say?
No, that's all I got, man. We pull up. Nah, just glad to finally talk some NBA again. Yes. Next time we do this, with football winding down, this is pretty much what it's going to be. It's going to be NBA pull-ups. We'll get MMA, rolling on here. MMA, the MMA is going to be going year-round, and that's also what I was going to plug. We dropped that MMA Tap Hour video. We've got one play on there in the co-main event for 2 big title fights. The card is kind of weak, but those 2 title fights, they might just be worth the $70. I know I'll be tuning in.
I think we might have a little promo for that. Let me see. Yeah, there it is, man. So I know you and Justin usually hold it down for that. This Saturday, the 22nd, there is a UFC card. The video is out on Facebook, guys. If you guys want to watch
YouTube, Facebook.
YouTube, Facebook.
It's on podcast. It's on Apple. It's on Spotify. If you just want to listen and not watch.
Yeah, if you want to just throw in the headphones, when you're out there at work or a little break, whatever it is, man. The podcasts are out there. Ben and Justin did a hell of a job on it, and the fights are this Saturday. So they talk about betting as well. They did their predictions. So if you guys want to throw in some bets, that's definitely the podcast to listen to. We're also gonna have NFL, Ben.
Yeah, we're gonna have to do some NFL Saturday, Sunday, possibly. We might come on just 30 minutes, talk about the 2 games on Saturday. 30 minutes, talk about the 2 games on Sunday. Sunday, I'm going all the way up on Sunday. Big game this Sunday.
Oh shit!
Game of the year. Game of the year possibility. 5:30 Sunday night. Chiefs against Bills.
Jesus, you're gonna call into work on Monday, Papa.
Nah, I'm not gonna call in.
What is that? What is that on your shirt, though, man? I can't.
We talking about sports.
I can't see that drip
logo.
Man.
Yeah. Okay. Finally. Usually you tell me I ain't got no damn swag, but I'm glad you like the fit today, cuz.
I haven't even got one of those, so I need to get myself one of those. An official exclusive We Talking About Sports tee. But other than that, man, for the NBA pull-up for We Talking About Sports, I'm Ron and I'm out. My boy Ben, anything to say to the viewers before we go?
Nah, man, we'll see you on Saturday. Join us on Saturday. Listen to this. Be here Saturday. We're going live, so it won't be recorded. Join us Saturday live.
Saturday we do it live. Tune in. Thanks for watching, guys.